はじめまして。私の名前は Carla Swick です。Hello, my name is Carla Swick, and greetings from windy Alaska. I'm very honored to be a part of the National Foreign Language Center's virtual conference. This will be my first virtual conference. So, どうぞよろしくお願いします。
A little bit about myself. When I'm not in the classroom, I'm often out with my husband and 8-year-old son on the river fishing. I also love to play ice hockey, spend my time in nature. In the summer, I'm usually a cabbage fairy at our state fair. We help the vegetables grow large up here in AK. And I'm very fortunate to have a co-teacher from the J-Leap program, Miss Akiho Negishi. So where did my love of language begin? I go back to 1987 when I was a junior in high school, and our city, Palmer, had a sister city relationship with Saroma, Japan. I was able to travel with the mayor and his wife over to Saroma for 3 weeks, and my world absolutely changed. Today, I want to talk about growing communities. So I'll give you a moment to read my 3 goals. So our very first one, door conversations. I usually try to have some kind of conversation with every student or interaction, both when they're coming to class and leaving in class. This is Hiroko Sensei, another J-Leap teacher. Kids knew this routine, and they'll just have a little interaction, but it gets us started in the target language and connected from the moment they walk in the door. I also have a Nicchoku. This is part of Japanese culture. It is a head student, but I love the ceremony of starting the class, ending the class with the head student. You'll see how that's done in this clip. And at the very end, you'll see Kai-san, one of my students, introducing the word of the day from the social contract.
Nichoku お願いします。
起立。気をつけ。これから授業を始めます。礼。
おはようございます。
着席。
はい。カイさん、今日の単語は何ですか？
今日の単語は哲学です。
見せてください。
この単語は哲学です。
はい。手伝う人。はい。皆さん頑張りましょう。
What is a social contract? I like to introduce it as through a question. What kind of people do we want to be? These are the attributes or the characteristics that hopefully we are aspiring to be. I don't want to call it the rules of the class. It's important that we all come up with these attributes or the social contract as a whole. So these are the 4 questions, and I ask them week 1. And I will usually spend a whole class period on this. I'll have kids in cooperative groups. First question that we ask them is, how do you want to be treated by the teacher? What would that look like? What would that sound like? How do you want to be treated by your peers, by each other? And then we'll give them time to think about that and report out. Put themselves in my perspective. How do you think I want to be treated? Your teacher. And then I can add my own input into this as well. And then how do we want to treat each other when there's a conflict or an issue or a misunderstanding? This is all taken from Capturing Kids' Hearts, and the premise is if we're going to capture their mind, we first need to capture their heart and have that connection. So this is the social contract that my period 4 came up with. What's the word that we want to focus on for the day? We want to become these kind of people, but what's the one we're going to really keep in the front of our mind during this class period? We start the day with good things. It's usually 2 to 3 minutes in the target language. Why do we do it? It creates a positive atmosphere. Kids make connections with their classmates, and we do too. You're getting the brain ready. You're, instead of thinking, oh, what did I forgot? What did I need? You're slowing your brain down, getting ready to learn. And this is a great chance to use personal language and kids to grow their own knowledge. We start with, after we ask the question, what is your good thing in Japanese? The student will say, watashi no ii koto wa, my good thing is, and then they will try to say that in whatever it is in Japanese. As the teacher, or if the student's leading it, always say add up a follow-up question so we can go deeper. So we'll go ahead and take a look of what this looks like.
よし、いいことをしましょう。
いいこと2人。レキシさんのいいこと
は何ですか？
私のいいことは、昨日初めていちごカルピスを飲みました。とても美味しかった。いいですね。
どこで買いましたか？
フレッドマイヤーズ。
いくらでした？
5ドルです。高い。でも美味しかった。よかった。それはい
いこと。
What is?
おぎよ。グレイさんのいいことは何ですか？
今週の週末にビューティー&ビーストの始め発表があります。みんな見に行きます。
聞いてください。はい。いくらですか
？25ドル。
行きたい。
皆さん頑張って。それはいいこと。
Great way to connect the class and again, stay in the target language. Another routine that is super helpful in my classes is kids expect to be in different seatings and arrangements all the time. If we're listening to a speaker or telling a story, most of the time we're in a circle. If they're writing, that's when I unfold the tables, or the students unfold the tables. They'll use chairs to move around and work with small groups or partners. And sometimes we don't have desks, or we don't have tables or chairs at all. Comprehensible input is another routine. I realize you can turn off a computer screen, but the posters on the walls are also important because they're comprehensible input for kids to go back to look at. One example, Pledge of Allegiance. In the first period, the whole school starts with the pledge, so we do the pledge in Japanese. Here, Akiho Sensei is using our Promethean board to show writing, the use of different colors, model everything that we want our students to do. TP art or gestures. I'm a big believer in that. I think a lot of people sometimes feel you can use it in year one, but then it gets old. But you'll see in this clip, this is our IB class. We're talking about environmental issues, and we're doing just a short little warm-up, maybe 2-3 minutes with gestures, just to get those phrases in the brain. So take a look. Environmental issue or problem. Whale. Dying. Wildfires are decreasing, are increasing, are happening. Also for engagement, if you don't have dry erase boards, you should have a class set. We use them for, let's say if they've been listening to a speaker, students can get together and share their notes. If they're getting ready to speak, they could use visuals, but or practicing Japanese writing. I love dry erase boards. Staying in the target language, even Japanese 1, Japanese 2, from the beginning, if you have the comprehensible input, you can stay in the target language. Here is an example of Akio Sensei and I co-teaching, and again, this was environmental studies. And this was sort of our opening lesson, trying to bring them into the topic of recycling.
リサイクリングをうちで、
Jane, do you
家で
recycle at your own homes?
ああ、してます。いい。
素晴らしいね。
皆さん、学校でしていますか？
What about at school?
はい、いいえ、時々。
時々。
Sometimes.
はい。ティア様、学校でパーマココでリサイクルをしますか？時々。はい。バネッサ様、全然。
Not at all.
うちでは
もう
もう全然。
そう
なるほど
なんですね。じゃあちょっと練習しましょう。
はい。
Let's
わかりました。
practice.
勉強になります。はい。
例えば、
はい。
皆さん、これはペットボトル。
ペットボトル。ペットボトル？
はい。皆さん、ペットのボトル？はい。知りません。でも、これは日本語でペットボトル。はい。ペット。はい。ペットボトルのゴミ箱に捨てます。大丈夫？
わかりました。
はい。
それから、これ。はい。そして、これは紙。
This is paper. This is paper.
これは何ですか？紙。そして、これは紙。そうですね。紙です。紙は紙のゴミ箱に捨てます。
はい。勉強になりました。はい。
そして、皆さん、これは何ですか？
プラ。
プラはどれだと思いますか？これ？はい。いいね。これですか？
私のチョコ。
これですか？はい。あ、そうですね。これプラスチック。
So you'll see we use lots of comprehensible input, engage the kids, and they were following what we were doing. Also, take advantage of current events and authentic resources. This was for the Setsubun Festival. We made sushi instead of just making sushi for the sake of making sushi. These long ehomaki is what they're called, are made for this festival. So on that day, we made them. And then there's a little ceremony where you sit and you face the lucky direction and you have to eat your long sushi roll in silence. So we did that as a class. Let's take a look.
じゃあこれから令和2年節分の日恵方巻きを皆さんでいただきたいと思います。せーの。
いただきます。じゃあ皆さん食べてもいいですよ。静かで食べてください。
All right, I also just wanted to take a moment and share some favorite apps or tech tools. Love Quizlet. Quizlet, Remind, Kahoot, and Google Classroom can be used in any class. Emiwa, NewsWeb Easy, and JReads are some apps that I have found to be really helpful for Japanese. One of our lifesavers this year was on the very first week of school, we had all of our students sign up for Remind, which is a texting app that allows us to connect with students and parents and send them reminders, as well as we had everyone sign up for Google Classroom. So when we hit our COVID-19 Q4 online world, we had a platform for communicating with them already set up. Okay, building community. I love community. One idea that we do is this is a national competition, New Year competition called Nengajo. Students get to create a New Year's card under 4 categories: comical, artistic, or original. And this one is computer generated is the 4th category. And then we do this as a school competition and a national competition. We send our top 2 cards in each category to nationals, to the American Association of Teachers of Japanese. And the kids get to learn about culture and learn about Japanese New Year's by doing something authentic. And our artists love it. And then we take it one step further. We copy these cards and then we actually use them for a writing project. Music is another medium, which is a great way to learn language. I have learned a lot from a colleague, Victoria Gellert Sensei, using song lyrics and PowerPoints with lots of comprehensible input. You can use it for cloze activities. Through music, students can learn vocabulary and structures naturally. And it's fun. Kids love it. I've taken that one step further, and again, movement. Here, all of our classes learned one of the same songs. It was called Tegami. We would go to the music room for practice, and then the music department was also interested. Oh, what are you doing? And got the other languages involved too for a lunchtime concert. Each of our language groups shared a song for the school.
Keep on believing, keep on believing, keep on believing.
Another way to build community is by holding a PE day in your language. It gives students a chance to challenge themselves in another way. This was our agenda. Two cultural things we wanted to challenge them with was a jump rope challenge. Elementary school students all have summer homework of jump roping, and also Japanese badminton, which is played at the New Year. Excellent way to introduce language and use it in context. Here was our jump rope challenge.
Nawatobi challenge, 始め。頑張れ、いけ。
And then you'll see in this clip from the Japanese traditional badminton, kids using their language to cheer them on. These traditional badminton boards are very difficult to use. We also had an award ceremony that showed Japanese culture of how you would give and receive awards. Kids did a formative assessment to see how they did with each of the jumps, as well as a reflection, which was good for us to see their own thoughts. What I loved about it is it brought the kids together. It gave different students a chance to shine, and it led to even bigger things. It became a Japanese PE semester class. How did this happen? We invited our principal to come and take part in the day, and this was actually his idea. We were also able to do so many other cultural activities in that class. Here we borrowed happy jackets from the Japanese consulate. Our students made Palmer High School headbands, and here they are practicing the Yosakoi traditional dance.
I tried to say sorry.
We're really fortunate to have the Sister City program. That is what got me started on my journey. We have it both at the elementary, middle, and high school. One really neat thing is our elementary school has a monthly Skype with Saroma Elementary. And then every summer, our students go over to Saroma in June. They spend 2 weeks. They get to be students for 2 weeks. They live with a home estate family. They get to eat Japanese food, take part in the different clubs, and go on field trips exploring and learning about the community. In the same way, in the fall, the students from Saroma come over, and our students have a chance to be the hosts. They learn about our schools. We do a welcome ceremony and a farewell ceremony. They get to experience homecoming, learn about our city. They're interviewed by our Radio Free Palmer, and then they also explore Alaska. And of course, family games. If you want to get the community involved, you need to invite the community. Try to have 3 community events where anyone who's interested in meeting the delegations and learning about the sister city can come. And here our Mayor DeVries is handing out honorary citizen certificates. Here you're going to see our students introducing some of their recommendations to our Saroma guests. 今日はSaromaの皆さんが来ています。みんなのおすすめを持ってきました。これはヘビですね。ヘビですか？ヘビ？怖い、ちょっと。And we did this with every level, Japanese 1 through 4. You will see next, this is a Japanese 1 student introducing her town that she came from of North Pole. おはようございます。名前は何ですか？ゆうさです。おはようございます。おはようございます。これはノースポートヨタカイです。ノースポーはアラスコにあります。ノースポーはクリスマスの都会です。私はノースポーに住んでいました。このアイスの彫刻が有名です。ノースポーはかっこいいです。おすすめです。Next, I want to talk about planting the seed. Probably every school in America has a Dr. Seuss Day. This is a way that our world language students became guest readers. They were able to introduce cultural books, and we also shared some of the language through the folk tales, both in English and Japanese. Take a look.
Towel from its head and gently wipe the snow off each statue. これはどうぞ。よいしょ、よいしょ、よいしょ、よいしょ、よいしょ、よいしょ。
Another activity that has become a tradition is our Japan Day at Academy Charter. It's a win-win for both Academy Charter and Palmer High School. It gives our students a chance to be in the teacher role. They have to create a 25-minute lesson that is interactive, and then they'll teach it 6 times. I think at the end of the day, it builds empathy because they realize what teachers do on a daily basis. They also become ambassadors. One thing that has been very successful is they always do a practice lesson in our class. So our students get the advantage of learning about the content as well as being collaborators and sharing feedback so they can improve their presentation. Students get to choose what they want to do. Sophia-san or Sophia Sensei and Emily Sensei did a language lesson. They're also both artists. They created this manga and had the students put in the Anamana poetic words.
At 10:40. In about 6 minutes.
Yeah. Go, go,
And
go,
we
go.
go over.
Key.
Cooking.
1. Pata, 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 pata. There was cultural trivia. a cooking lesson, a calligraphy lesson, traditional Japanese games. As they created their lessons, they always wanted to make it interactive and leave the students with a handout. This is a tradition that our students look forward to and Academy Charter students look forward to. This is my J-Leap family, and they have given me the ability to network nationally and have been a fabulous support, especially during this COVID times. If you have the chance to work in a program with a co-teacher, definitely do it. J-Leap is a 2-year grant. This has been the best professional development. I'm able to collaborate on a daily basis, stay in the target language, build my own language. If we're working with different levels, we're able to differentiate. And students see that we're all learners in our classroom. We are truly networking both nationally and globally. And I have gained, through Akiho Sensei and Miharu Sensei, 2 lifelong friends. Another suggestion I have is if your language has a National Honor Society group, do it. We want to celebrate and encourage our students to push themselves academically. Another of my key tips is get kids involved year 1 in something outside the classroom. I find if they challenge themselves that year 1, you've got them for the next 4 years. And so I always encourage them to do competitions. Declamation is a regional and a state competition. Kids can do poetry and monologues and dialogues. And I always start by doing this in my own classroom. So everyone does a poem. Domo.
雨、谷川俊太郎。雨が降ると土の匂いがする。雨が降ると足の裏がくすぐったい。雨が降ると街が静かになる。雨が降ると昔のことを考える。
This is our Palmer High School World Language team, and we celebrate them by putting these banner plates on their lockers. Students get great feedback, and I always have a little mini competition and invite guests so that they're getting feedback not just from me, but others. This is our Matsu World Language group at the state competition, so we were able to build this language community in our district as well. Another state competition that we have is the Alaska Nihongo contest. I think this is very unique because it is for any student taking Japanese from kindergarten all the way to university level. And they compete in speech, skit, song, poetry, original poetry, and haiku. I also highly encourage you to invite past and present students to present in your class. These are 2 university students that are sharing some of their experience as well as their tips for studying. It's amazing. You can say the same thing, but they're going to listen when a student is telling them. And I have discovered people like to be given responsibility and feel needed. If you ask, they usually step up and do it. I saw this when we were planning our regional declamation and state world language conference. Involve the kids. They helped with the planning, setup, registration table. They ran the hospitality room. They were our room monitors and runners, photographers, tabulators. We invited about 30 language community members, their teachers, native speakers of the language who are our judges. And it was a great opportunity for our students to meet community members who spoke their language. And it gave them a platform to share their own story. This is one of my favorite projects that I have done in all of my teaching. It is the Japanese crane project that kind of happened naturally. It started with our sister school delegation teaching how to make cranes at our Christmas crane event for Colony Days, a Christmas event in Palmer. They probably taught about 300 people how to make cranes that afternoon. And then they carried that on and taught students at the different schools, our city council members at a church event. And then we actually took those cranes to Japan and presented them at the Sadoko Memorial as our symbol of peace and hope. Here is their presentation.
私たちはアメリカ合衆国のアラスカ州のパマ市から来ました。パマ市の国生や中学生や小学生や市民みんなでこの鶴を折りました。私たちは平和と希望を願っています。平成30年6月6日生徒代表ソフィーディ
How do we build and maintain community, a virtual community during these new times? Here are our takeaways. Backward design is so much more important in the virtual world because I feel we have less time with kids. They need clear directions. They tend to be written, but they also need the video and the audio. Google Classroom, it really helped us just by organizing it by weeks. Week 1, week 2, so students knew where to go. We were also much more lenient on deadlines. We would introduce things on Monday and give them the whole week to do it because we didn't know their home life situation. It's not just language skills, but tech skills, soft skills. How do you communicate in the virtual world? They were all important. Feedback is important. If we expect kids to stay motivated, they have to hear from us. They have to know we're reading their work. And we also needed to address schedules, help students realize how are they spending their time, reflect on that. And we did do a project where we had kids record their schedule for a week in half-an-hour blocks on a spreadsheet. Our takeaway, keep your expectations high, but also have realistic expectations. You have to give yourself some grace. If kids have 7 online classes, you're just not going to be able to do everything you can do in the classroom. So what did we do? We already had Google Classroom and Remind. We added Zoom. We had once a week virtual face-to-face classes so that we could still connect and maintain that relationship. We did continue with academic progress. Kids learned to upload their homework. Importance of feedback. You can see here, Akiho Sensei was able to click on the different parts of the picture and give feedback, and that motivated kids to keep going. We did more projects. This was a project by Ann Jordan Sensei from the Laurasian Institute, and we jumped on board with it. Gambarimasku means to work hard, and masku is with your mask. And so kids shared what were things that they were doing at home, maybe not Japanese related, but they were learning new skills. And this is Zo-san, who was doing a lot of baking. kind of thought outside of the box. This is Isaac-san. He was making up an assignment that he had missed third quarter and came up with the idea to do a Japanese cooking research and made oyako donburi and okonomiyaki. And his family loved it. Katakana projects. We're trying to get away from everything computer. This was Akiho sensei's idea. And kids use their katakana writing, which shows loan words in Japanese, to show something in their home with things that they could find. One of our takeaways, we loved the feedback we were able to give students and their writing in Google Classroom, and it's something that we plan to continue. So I believe we need to believe in students, and we keep believing them until they believe in themselves. And I think in this new COVID-19 world, we also have to believe in our profession. World language teachers are resilient. We are open-minded. We will figure it out. We will gambarimasu. We will work hard. So I just want to say, kiite kurete arigatou gozaimashita. I really enjoyed being a part of your day. Thank you.